Hey everybody, my name's Cole, aka Trans Spirit, a transgender human being with an emphasis on spirituality. I'm 34 years old. I have 7.5 years sober from alcohol and 3 years sober from opiates. With the opiates, I developed an addiction after injuring myself, and I realized how out of control it got really fast. I'm going to talk about that second. First, I want to talk about alcohol. I mentioned that I want to talk about it second because I was able to catch myself with the opiate addiction because of the alcohol addiction that I experienced it. I saw similarities, so I was able to see, whoa, this is reminding me of the alcohol. I got to stop. The alcohol addiction started for me when I was 19 years old. I stopped drinking when I was 27 years old. So, y'all, this was almost a 10-year span of my 34 years. That's a third of my life I spent very drunk. Hard liquor. It was absolutely terrifying. I took it too far. When other people put the bottle down and worked on their life and went to school or jobs or projects, whatever they did, I continued to ignore my life path and to keep drinking. I would drink by myself. I would drink with friends. I would drink liquor when I didn't even want to drink. From what I've studied on a spiritual level, that's when you know that there's some dark entities at play, is when you're drinking when you don't even want to drink. I lost jobs over it, crashed cars over it. I had a DWI. I would black out. And now that's a sure tell sign of being an alcoholic, is blacking out and not being able to control how many drinks you have. Some people can have alcohol and have a few drinks and say to themselves, whoa, I'm getting drunk, I need to stop. That didn't happen for me. Now, I tried many times to just drink and control myself, and I never could. I checked myself into a rehab. I went to an inpatient rehab and I didn't drink for almost a month. I felt like I wasn't over it. Like, I felt like I still had the desire to drink. What you have to remember is that everybody's experience is different. What worked for me to become sober, it could work for other people, it might not. You have to go with your gut. For me, alcohol overall was completely ruining my life. It was a temporary ruin. Things are great now. But it was really, it was bad. I was destroying friendships, relationships with my family. So all these years passed by and all these negative things I just told you about happened. I had heard is when you go to get sober and say you're sober for X amount of time, if you relapse, that is normal. So don't beat yourself up. Now, I'm not saying, go relapse. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, if you're feeling discouraged because you have relapsed, don't let it hold you back from becoming sober. I personally relapsed more times than I can count. I attempted to get sober over that almost 10-year span more times than I can count. I would say, well, I'm not going to drink anymore, or I went into rehab, or whatever it was, and I'd relapse, and I'd relapse, and I'd relapse. So, the meat and the potatoes. How did I quit? How did I overcome the alcohol? I overcame alcohol with one of the steps that they'll teach you in AA. And let me tell you with that, I have respect for AA. I don't go. Some people just don't like being told what to do. Now, if I feel like it's in my best interest, I will definitely listen to it. I'm not that stubborn. However, I had some good experiences in AA, but overall, I had a pretty bad experience with AA meetings. People talking down to me, telling me what to do. I didn't like the cult-like feeling. So when I went to an AA meeting, or I went to many meetings and it felt cult-like, it turned me off. The good thing is, though, is I had a connection with God in a non-religious way. Now, some people might not like to hear this, but again, this is my personal story. If you don't like it, turn the video off. The thing that helped me to quit was giving my issues and my addiction to a higher power. And that is one of the steps. But I don't follow all the rules of AA. At first they told me I had to quit smoking weed. I didn't. And I'm going to tell you, weed was a huge tool for me. And I've worked in the cannabis industry. I no longer do. But cannabis can be a great temporary tool to help people step off of opiates or alcohol, things that are much more damaging. Alcohol and opiates are physically addictive. Cannabis is not. Cannabis can be more of a mental addiction. And it's not like that with some people. Some people can smoke it, put it aside. I have an addictive personality. That's another reason that I quit, because it just was like, I was just smoking. So anyway, one day it all happened for me where now let me tell you, after countless tries of trying to become sober and failing, I watched a friend of mine really mess up some stuff in his life. He was very, very drunk this particular day, and it opened my eyes, and I thought, oh my God, we have problems. Like, we have to stop. And he stopped after that day, and it inspired me. And I thought, I really, really need to stop. I still didn't, though. The thought of stopping made me want to drink more, and I did. So, like 2 weeks and after, so like the day that he was all drunk and it was disturbing to me, for the next 2 weeks, I binge drank. And that's just the way that I did it. I would not recommend it. Terrible things could happen. You could lose your life. You could kill somebody. You could ruin a lot of things. So I do not recommend doing this, but this is what happened with me. Is after I saw how bad he got, it's like I had in my head, and I knew I was going to stop. But my demons took control, and I let them drive the car for the next 2 weeks. And I just kept drinking, and heavily. Until one day, I truly sat down and thought about my higher power. And I thought about the fact that I was going to give it all to God. And I prayed, I said out loud, God, please help me to stop drinking alcohol. And I meant it. This time from my gut, from my core, from my heart, I meant it. There were times in the past where I'd kind of half-assed, like, yeah, God, please help me to stop. But it's like I didn't really mean it. When I truly meant it and I was really asking for help, help came. It was a Friday night. I went out drinking. And oddly enough, I went out with my friends and my ex at the time. And I didn't catch that buzz I was looking for. When I got home, there was a big bottle of liquor on the counter. I don't even remember what it was, to be quite honest with you. I drank almost the whole bottle and I got blackout drunk. I did some terrible things. I went out to my front porch. Some pretty bad people came up to the steps, started talking to me, and I was showing them the phone, my girlfriend's phone. I'd borrowed it while she was sleeping because she went to bed while I got wasted. Well, they stole the phone, and I don't even remember it. I like openly gave them the phone and was like, here, check out this phone. It's pretty cool, right? My ego's all bragging about it. Look at this cool phone. It wasn't even mine. They took it. So this extremely terrible bad night led to me quitting. The next morning, I woke up projectile vomiting all over my bedroom door. My girlfriend had left for work. I was alone. And I just broke down and started crying. And I said, God, I can't do this anymore. Help me. I went into my kitchen. I'll never forget this. I pray to never forget this. This light, just the sunlight just shone in, just shined right into my window in the kitchen. And I felt this amazing love. Basically, I'd never felt this feeling before. And what it was now I know that it was God and my angels and my guides lifting that burden of alcoholism off of my shoulders. Because what I learned years later is we all have guides and we all have angels, and they're here for us, and we can call upon them for help. But because we as human beings, we've incarnated into this planet to have free will, they can't interfere with our lives unless it's in complete danger. But as far as me not drinking alcohol every day, they can't just take the can or bottle out of my hand. I have to ask for help. And I didn't know that at the time. But thankfully, thank God, something in me told me to just ask for help. And that was it. I haven't drank a drop since. I'm so grateful. I have not drank a drop of alcohol since. It'll be 8 years this year. So I'm almost at the point where I've been sober as long as I drank. And my life has changed tremendously, and all for the best. And I'm going to tell you, some shit went down. Stuff was rough. But you see, what I've learned is things will crumble and fall apart that are no longer serving us to make room for things that are. Now you fast forward a few years into sobriety from alcohol, so it was a few years ago for me. I got caught up into pills, into Percocets, after I'd hurt myself in an accident. And it felt like alcohol times 100. It was scary. And luckily, again, it was divine guidance. I recognized it and I said, God, please help me. I have to get off these pills. And honestly, for me, I'm not going to lie. I used, because pills and opiates are so physically addictive and people become sick, they call it dope sick when you get off of it. I weaned off the pills very carefully. Like, I just kept breaking off pieces. And I was working on a cannabis farm out in California at the time with a friend who was helping me, giving me free hash oil. I want to be honest and share this with you, because it wasn't like, oh, I just stopped taking pills one day, everything is fine. With the alcohol, I wasn't drinking every day, so I wasn't as physically addicted to it as I had become with the pills. But with the pills, I knew it was more of a physical addiction, and I was worried about becoming sick, so he offered me the opportunity to go out there and be on that farm, and I thank God, and I took it. So I had it in my mind I was going to quit taking these pills. I gradually got off of them, and I was replacing it with hash oil to help. And that's where cannabis can be a medicine. And I got off the pills. I haven't taken the pills in 3 years. I still experience chronic pain every day. And I work through it. I work through it with physical therapy. I take CBD oil. I no longer smoke cannabis. And that's the thing, is like, you know, people say, oh, you can't trade one thing for another. Well, sometimes you need to safely get off of things, off of substances. So that's personally what happened for me. Overall, it was divine intervention. Overall, it was asking God's help, surrendering to a higher power. You don't have to be a certain way. You just have faith that there's something larger than you that created you and created this universe. Ask that belief for help. Ask it for help. Genuinely mean it. You will receive help. Now, for me, it took about 2 weeks to see it come through, but it came through. It came through, and I am very blessed, and I'm very grateful. Thank you for watching this. If anyone has any questions, please leave them below. I have, again, 3 years off of about a year stint with those pills after an accident. And I have almost 8 years free from alcohol abuse. So if anyone wanted to ask me anything or just share their experiences, I invite you to please leave them below. Thank you so much for the people that have been liking this channel. I appreciate the support, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Much love and light to you.